So what really happened at the first round of negotiations between the United States and Iran in Switzerland? My colleague Shivan Chanana breaks down the details for you.
Now, the first round of US-Iran talks has ended with some notable progress, but several major issues remain unresolved even now. Let's take a look at what we know at the conclusion of the first round of talks in Switzerland. Starting off, according to a joint statement that was issued by the mediators, US and Iranian officials have agreed to create a high-level committee to oversee negotiations. The committee will supervise separate working groups focused on nuclear issues, sanctions and dispute resolution. By the way, the nuclear issue has not even come up as of now. Well, the statement says that both sides have also agreed on a roadmap aimed at reaching a final agreement within 60 days, allowing technical negotiations to begin immediately. Tehran and Washington have established a direct communication channel to prevent incidents and misunderstandings in the Strait of Hormuz, help ensure the safe passage of commercial shipping, and the arrangement will also remain in place during the 60-day negotiation period outlined in the Memorandum of Understanding. That was a 14-point Memorandum of Understanding which Iran had also published publicly. Now, this is particularly significant because Iran had announced on Saturday that it was once again closing the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli attacks in Lebanon. Lebanon was another major focus of the talks. In fact, it was one of the initial points that Iran brought up in Switzerland. The US and Iran agreed to establish a deconfliction cell involving both countries, the Lebanese government and mediators, to help maintain the ceasefire and prevent renewed military clashes. Well, recent fighting in Lebanon had threatened to derail diplomatic efforts altogether. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi described this cell as the first real test of the agreement. Araghchi also claimed that Iran has secured sanctions relief, including waivers for oil and petrochemical exports. There's a lot that Araghchi, in fact, published on his social media account. He also mentioned that the release of some frozen assets have also been discussed, and also claimed that a major reconstruction and development plan for Iran has been launched. But the real test, of course, is that deconfliction cell. However, the Pakistan-Qatar joint statement does not mention any release of Iranian assets, and US officials have, of course, not yet responded to Araghchi's claims either. While the opening round of talks produced some breakthroughs, tougher negotiations lie ahead. As I mentioned, the nuclear program is yet to be discussed. That's the actual and the original sticking point. Under the provisional agreement, Iran has agreed to downblend or dilute its stockpile of highly enriched uranium. The two sides now must still negotiate how these commitments will be enforced, how they'll be verified and monitored over the long term. Another sticking point is commercial shipping. And this is a sticking point that emerged after the war started. Iran has agreed to allow toll-free transit through the Strait of Hormuz. But Iranian officials argue that they still have the right to charge maritime service fee. The US strongly opposes any such charges, and a major source of disagreement is the proposed $300 billion that Iran would get in reconstruction funds. Questions over who will really finance this figure of $300 billion, those questions still remain afloat, and how it will operate, well, this remains politically contentious. The US position is that Iran can only access this reconstruction fund if it fully complies with the terms of the agreement. Donald Trump has even taken to Truth Social and said this is fake news. Iranian state media has reported that the US agreed to release anywhere between $12 billion and $24 billion during the 60-day negotiation period, which starts now. US officials have denied those reports, insisting that any financial relief will be tied directly to Iran's compliance with the deal.